Hi friends, and welcome to ScreenVomit, the only movie podcast for normal people. I'm of course your host Kayla, and I do have a guest with me today, but before I get to that, if you like the show today, you can find me on Instagram and everywhere else at ScreenVomit, one word on all the stuff. Leave me a rating and review on your podcast app, that's just nice. Folks, this episode is a long time coming, and I'll tell you, it's going to be slow the next couple months. I am working on organizing a Pride festival in a city. This is insane, but such is my life. In a city I no longer live in, but I started doing while I did live there a couple years ago. But everything got postponed with COVID. Anyway, it's back, and this is taking up so much of my time organizing this Pride Fest. So, and, you know, I also work at like 3 jobs. So this is just going to be, the next couple months are going to be slow for me putting out episodes. I love you. Please stick with me. Thank you for sticking with me. Next month is going to be 4 years of doing the podcast, which is insane. Some of you have listened since the beginning, which is even more insane. But yeah, anyway, so, give me grace. And, you do. Nobody's saying anything, but just wanted to let you know what's up there. All right, so I have a guest with me today. I'm so excited. I finally got this person on, and I've been begging him to do the pod for forever. This is a good friend of mine, Scott Nelson. We are in a band together. Surprise drop. I don't think I've ever mentioned that on the podcast yet. So we are in a band called Secret Grief together. I've known him forever. We're such good pals. I hope that this episode makes sense to people who aren't us. But I think it does. I think it's good. We accidentally did a kind of half an episode on a different movie, but I do promise we talk about Alps. Okay, I promise we talk about the whole movie Alps. Okay. So some normals may remember, if you listened to the episode on the movie Arrival, I alluded to a friend who was studying linguistics. That is this friend, Scott. He does that, but he does a lot of other things too, including the band. And you know what? He has a lifelong dream of composing a score for a film. Short or feature, doesn't really matter, but I know a lot of filmmakers out there, and I know a lot that listen to the podcast. So if you are in need of a score, hit them up. Check out their tunes, our tunes. I'm newer to the band. Anyway, check out their tunes, and, I think you'd be great at it. We recently did 4 songs in a live session for Eureka Records. Eureka Records. That's kind of hard to say for me. And look, instead of doing my theme beat bumper, I'm going to play a little bit of one of those tunes. And this song is called Dreams. So check out that. I'll link our sessions in the show notes, even though that makes me scared. Don't tell me if you watch them. I don't want to know. Okay, enjoy the episode. Bye.
Embrace what's new. Find some comfort in all the beauty you've been missing out on, because you simply chose to not see it. Yeah, this is gonna get goofy. I'm sorry.
You think so? No, it's good to be goofy, I think.
I haven't
talked to any people in days. What do you mean how we get?
We get goofy.
What's that supposed to mean?
We get goofy.
Do we goof? You and I?
Yes, of course. I was thinking the other day that there certainly is a subset of the population. Oh my God. I hate the way that I fucking talk. There's a subset of people who only know me from my music, which is very sad and depressing. But largely my personality outside of that is very goofy and stupid.
I see.
So it's very funny.
I thought, hold on, when you started this sentence, I thought you meant you're depressed that people only know you from your music and not know you.
Oh, no. I just think it's like a very funny...
People only know me from my music, which is so sad and depressing. Do you know? Can you hear it when I say it back?
Yeah. No, just like, if they only knew me then and then listened to this, they'll be like, what the fuck?
You contain multitudes.
Don't we all?
I mean, people only know me from being absolutely stupid ass online and posting videos of squirrels, and then they meet me and they go, oh, well, that actually makes sense. So actually, I only contain one multitude. But my movie life is secret.
Is it?
Well, I feel like there's only a select amount of people who I know who listen to my podcast or even care about it at all or follow it or anything like that. And people who don't, like, it's a total, they have no idea about it. You know? It's like a double life. And it's hard to talk about with anybody normal because they don't know what I'm talking about. Like, it just sounds psychotic. I've tried to, like, tell my coworkers about, like, movies I've watched and stuff. It don't usually go well.
Yeah.
Because they're so stupid and crazy. That being said.
All right.
Okay, we can be in the pod. Scott, welcome to the pod.
Hello.
All right, we're goofing, clowning. I can barely pay attention to doing my podcast because I just want to chat with my pal, Scott, who's being shy now and will not make another peep.
Hello, ScreenVomit listeners.
Oh, my listeners are called the Normals.
The Normals? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Normals.
Normals.
Is it too early to tell an anecdote?
Go ahead. What type of anecdote? What do we got?
So
Prepared with an anecdote.
There's a town called Normal, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know this town, Normal, Illinois?
Mm-hmm.
That we used to drive.
I believe I played a show there once.
Yeah, we used to drive past it in, I guess the good old days, and
of rock and rolling.
That's right. But we used to do a bit about Norm and Norma Normalson who lived in Normal, Illinois.
Oh my God, that's such a you bit.
So that I'm thinking of all your listeners as Norm and Norma Normalson from Normal, Illinois.
Yeah, I think that's who listens mainly.
So hello, Norm. Hello, Norma.
From Brussels. And hello, Normals, their kids.
Yeah, are there other Norm-based names?
Norma, Norman.
Norman?
I don't think.
Yeah, you can just shorten it to Norm,
No.
But that's the same name.
Yeah.
Nor?
So, yeah, I don't think so. They'd be like Nora or something.
Oh, yeah, Nora. That'd be a good one, actually.
Okay, so we've been friends for a long time, but I don't think that we've ever had a real T to B conversation about a film. Would you say that's true?
I think that's true. Yes, I would say that's true.
Even though we have a lot of crossover in taste.
Yeah.
Especially in comedy.
That's right. Well, first of all, I don't think we ever talked about a movie together before this year, maybe, that I'm aware of.
Probably so.
I mean, maybe it got brought up, but I mean, when I saw you in New York, whenever that was. When was that?
August?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit, but not T to B, as you say.
Not T to B. Mm-hmm. I did make you watch a little freaky little short when we were in the studio in May, too.
Oh, that's right. Yes. I think about that far too often.
Really?
Right. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Well, I already told you that I tried to
Hold
get
on,
the
let's name the
sunglasses.
short. Alex Kavutsky's The Hole the Devil Put There.
Yeah. But I told you that I tried to get those sunglasses for my family trip to Hawaii.
Oh, yeah. So Nick Rossi in the short is wearing these insane sunglasses. So you tried to get the glasses.
I did, and they were all sold out.
Wait, you did get them?
No.
Oh, they're
I
sold
did
out.
try,
Okay.
but they were all sold out.
Yeah.
And so I would only accept those ones, nothing else. So I literally didn't buy sunglasses for this trip to Hawaii. I went to Hawaii with no sunglasses.
And
I
you're
bought some
light
there,
eyes, so you're probably sun sensitive.
I'm light everything, baby.
Don't
Well,
say I'm light everything.
gonna start a tally of regrets. Every 5, maybe every 2, I think I'm gonna lose at least one close friend.
But think of how many more you'll gain.
That's right. That's why I'm here, baby. I'm doing all
Now you're just being me. Don't be me to myself.
We are near birthday twins, so it's hard not to.
I know. We're so similar. We're more similar than you'd think.
That's right.
Okay, tell me about your relationship with watching movies. You're a little bit of a movie head, although you're not quite to the extent of me, but
I don't consider myself one, but then I think about how often I do end up watching movies that I guess I am a secret movie head.
Okay, closet.
I don't have that strong of opinions on, well, maybe I have strong opinions about everything, which is a personality flaw.
You've never you haven't properly evaluated your relationship with film.
Yeah. I like movies. So I mean, really, the past few years, it's grown quite a bit. So my roommates and I used to regularly have movie nights, especially during the pandemic, where we would just all get together and watch a movie every week. So and different people chose, right? So
but now you're enemies and you don't do it anymore.
That's right, enemies. But yeah, so I don't know. I feel like I have bad taste in movies, but I know what I like.
Name some of your faves.
Well, my two favorite movies are Alien and Young Frankenstein, which is like kind of a psycho, but one comedy, one
normal.
Drama.
Yeah, I think that's normal. That's a normal pick.
Yeah, I love The Thing, partially because it's like a cold movie. I just like.
And you love winter. Scott famously loves winter. Yeah, little winter freak. Little snow bunny.
I feel like I was thinking of other movies I loved the other day, and now I can't. I mean, Alien and Young Frankenstein are the two that I just
name one that's from the last 20 years.
Okay, that's a good point. Oh, I actually love Annihilation. I think that
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I saw it in theaters and was very immediately disappointed, not because the movie was bad, because it got to the end and I thought, that was so fucking good. Why was I thinking the whole time that it's so much different than the book? Like, that's all I could think about. So
wait, is there a book?
Yeah, it's based on a book.
Oh. I don't read. You're a smart, cultured man.
Allegedly, the story goes that Alex Garland read the book and then wrote the screenplay without rereading or looking up anything back in the book.
Okay. Yeah.
And that, I guess, tracks a little bit, but also I think that's not real. Like, that seems just like a marketing thing to me, but I don't know.
That could be cool. That'd be a cool way to be inspired by something but not pull too much from it.
I mean, in some sense, it fits very well with the theme of the book and movie. Just making these, like, imperfect copies of things is sort of a through line through everything. So, I don't know. It seems like too on the nose to be real to me, kind of, but...
okay.
I guess for more modern movies, I very much like all of Alex Garland's stuff. I don't think they're always.
Did you ever
perfect.
end up seeing the new one?
Yeah. So I went and saw with Cam like a week after we did our stuff.
Don't make it sound nasty. We recorded sessions
normals.
in studio.
Yeah. Well, normals. Kayla, myself, and our friend Cam were supposed to go see the movie Men, but then we were so fucking exhausted from 2 days straight of, 13 hours in a recording studio that we said, nah.
Of rock and rolling.
Yeah.
I haven't talked much about rock and rolling on the pod in a very long time, so they may not even know that I have a secret triple life as a rock and roller.
Well, yeah, that's true, and that's how we met, so.
That is how we met. We met, should we say? How many?
Sure.
When did we decide it was? 2015?
Yeah, it was
2015, I booked Scott's band on a show that I also played. And I think no people came, or one person maybe.
One person came, and
yeah,
it was... Okay, two things I remember about the show. One is that one person came, but he was so into every song that we played and Runaway Brother played. Like, he came there just for us by himself and like bought merch from both of us. But I also remember at the venue there were sound triggered lights.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the lights you could make so they changed with sound. And so Cam and I set them to just be on nonstop like that. So it's just like 30 minutes.
This is like an 150 cap venue too.
Yes,
so if you can picture. It's not huge, but it's pretty big for just one person to be in.
Yeah. And we were playing as a two-piece band, so like a lot of funny stuff. But after the show was like a very memorable time for me as well, because Jacob and I bleached our hair in your bathroom that night.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That is true.
Yeah, so I bleached my hair in your bathroom. We got donuts the next morning at that place. Then we went and played laser tag. I don't think you came with us, but
no.
The rest, yeah, we went and played laser tag. In fact, I've been to that laser tag place 3 or 4 times now, which is
what?
Yeah.
And I don't think no times with me. What the fuck?
Yeah, multiple times on tours.
Mm-hmm.
And then also my brother and his friend and I came down once and just played. It's a very good laser tag place.
Do you remember the name?
Laser Time. I can't believe
yeah.
how quickly I just pulled that out of my head. The other funny thing about the time I came with my brother and his friend is we got yelled at by not the employees, but by some of the people playing, like the younger kids playing.
Mm-hmm.
And they said to me and, well, I guess, yeah, just me, they're like, stop trying so hard. You're a bunch of high schoolers or something. Keep in mind, I was like at least 28 at this point.
That's amazing.
I know. But also But
that speaks to your boyish charm.
It's true. I was just going to say I've had 2 laser tag birthdays in my adult life, including for my 30th birthday. Yeah. So for
it's
my
fun to do stupid stuff for your birthday though.
Yeah, so for my 23rd birthday, we brought a squad of like 30 people to the laser tag place in Lansing, Michigan, and just that ruled. And then for my 30th birthday, my partner at the time surprised me with like a bunch of friends who came. There weren't quite 30 that time. You know, you kind of lose friends as you get older, but you know, always got to turn it depressing somehow. But no, they were both incredible.
But you went to play laser tag.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, now...
and next year, we're going to have a joint birthday party where we go on tour.
Oh, maybe. I unfortunately have my secret second life is as a giant nerd, so I...
well, that's not a secret.
Well, okay, yeah, true. As an academic.
Scott's getting a PhD, famously.
Mm-hmm.
Continue.
About laser tag or PhD?
Well, you were starting to say we can't do a tour on our birthday because...
Oh, yeah, just because I'm busy with the academic calendar around that time. So,
oh, I see.
Yeah.
Don't you have spring break sometime? Is it not on our birthday?
Yeah, but it's
Good
usually
Friday,
earlier.
anything?
It's usually earlier for...
Easter?
for colleges. Yeah, I wish.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when I was in school... it was always on my birthday, spring break.
Yeah, so in high school I was the same way. Like it always seemed to be on our birthday week.
Yeah.
But yeah. now
people do like March.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And what kind of people are born in March? No, all the cool kids are born in April.
Yeah. I don't think I know anyone born in March, and I hope it stays that way. Oh, God, someone born in March is going to be listening to this that I know. I'm sorry.
People born in March are posers. They hate us because they ain't us. That's why.
Oh, my God, I can't believe I'm telling this story. But I used to just like jokingly call everyone. Okay, so backstory is I used to get into a lot of trouble with the Secret Grief and Tiger Twitter because I would just goof all the time.
Yeah.
And one time there was this giant snowstorm. We were in Muskegon, which is like right on the lake on the west side of Michigan. And this band from the Detroit area was supposed to come and play. But I'm talking like foot of snow, like true blizzard snowstorm. Mm-hmm. And they posted about how they couldn't play. And I just responded saying posers, and this caused a lot of drama.
Aw, well, because they don't know you're silly.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean.
You're the meme of the guy walking in the room at the party, and it's like they don't know I'm a silly little guy.
That's true. Yeah, they don't know I'm a silly little
guy.
Yeah.
They think you're serious.
Yeah.
So you're being outed as a silly little guy.
It's been a bane of my existence.
Yeah. Everyone thinks you're serious.
Yeah.
Well, no one's ever thought that I was serious, so we have opposite problems. All right, should we talk about the movie?
We certainly can.
We certainly can. Okay.
Got my notes.
You got notes. Doesn't have to be that intense.
You have to remember, okay, this is my academic side, though. Sorry,
oh, yeah, you are a scholar.
I also watched Dogtooth because I was like, I got to know the full,
good.
I got to know the full, like, lens to view this through. And I've seen The Lobster.
That's great.
But I haven't seen Killing of a Sacred Deer. Those are, like, his 4 that he's written, directed, and produced, right? Look at me. I got knowledge.
Yeah. You know a couple things.
Who's hosting here?
So, yeah, we did the 2012 film Alps. This is a Yorgos Lanthimos film. Scott just named his whole filmography, so I don't have to do that for you no more. But I am going to do a little bit of cast and crew before we talk about it any further. All right, so yeah, written, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, co-written by Efthemis Philippou, who co-writes a lot of Yorgos's films, Killing of a Sacred Deer, which we've done on Pod, Dogtooth, Lobster, and also co-wrote the film Elle, which I've done on the podcast, but may not come out until after this. So it's coming up, the film Elle. But I didn't know that about Efthemis when I picked that film. Anyway, that guy also, the writer, also plays a character in this film. He plays the lamp shop owner, which is actually his only acting credit, so that's interesting. Also from the movie Elle, Aris Servitalis, who plays like the leader of the gang in this, is in the film Elle. Angeliki Papoulia, all right, I'm rolling with these Greek names, is also in Dogtooth and The Lobster. She plays the rude lady in The Lobster. The coach, Johnny Vekris, is not in anything else, and actually passed away like 10 days after this film came out.
Wow.
So, poor little fellow, bless his heart, Johnny Vekris. And then the gymnast, Arian Lebed, is also in The Lobster and the film Attenberg, which is another popular Greek Weird Wave film. So that's the cast, more or less, the people that you'd know from anything. All Greek folks, all in the Greek films. All right, so 2012 film Alps. This was on my list for a very long time. And actually, I forced Scott to do this, and he didn't get any say in it, so...
Lucky me.
I'm glad that he said yes, because I've been wanting to do this forever, and my podcast rule, my time limit for films is 10 years. So this is a 2012 film. We're almost over 2022. I had to get it in.
Ooh.
I've been saving it to do on the pod, because I am such a Yorgos head. I love all his movies. I've seen all his movies, except for this one. I think there might be, it's possible that there's one more, but I don't know, that I haven't seen. But anyway, I'm a huge Yorgos head, and I was really wanting to do this, so I'm glad that you said yes.
Yeah, I am not a huge Yorgos head, but I'm still not a head, but I overall I liked it.
But you've dipped a toe or two in now.
Yes, yeah. I had a toe dipped in. I saw The Lobster. I watched it on a plane, though, so like that's not real movie watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my...
So you've only seen The Lobster on a plane.
Yes.
And then you've probably seen The Favorite. True?
No, false.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just figured because everybody was seeing it when it was in theaters.
When was it? Was that recent?
2018. It was like an Oscar movie.
Again, fake movie guy here.
It was just big at the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so you saw Lobster on a plane. Was that the first Yorgos movie you'd seen?
Yep. Unless there's like a hidden one that I don't know.
That'd probably be it. The Lobster and The Favorite are the most like commercially accessible. So unless you were seeking out any of the others, you probably wouldn't have just found them.
Well, it's funny because I have a vivid memory of starting to watch Dogtooth maybe 10 years ago, but I maybe got 30 seconds in and then never watched any more of it. So
really, you gave up?
Well, I didn't quite give up as much as I just like never went back to it, I guess. I don't know. I like weirdly
you put 30
remember
seconds
starting
in.
It, but, well, the first 30 seconds, like, nothing really happens. It's like kind of quiet. Actually, I noticed this about both Dogtooth and Alps. They start in pure silence, and I think that's cool. I think more movies just need pure silence.
Okay, let's not compare them too much now because we got to do some other stuff before we get there. But we will get there. But I just wanted to know, like, your relationship with Yorgos movies.
Relatively little.
You've just seen some recently.
Yeah.
I would suggest now that you've seen Dogtooth, maybe watching The Lobster again.
Yeah, I actually wanted to before this, but I just ran out of time.
You didn't make it. Okay, so critic scores on this, we got 75% on Rotten Tomatoes and 78% of Google users hit it with that old thumbs up. So I did not prep you for this at all in any way, but do you want to read a plot summary of this film?
Yes, I'll do it. I remember listening to another episode where you made someone do this, so I should have been aware.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, of course.
What'd you listen to?
Well, again, I listened to the first half of Overlord. What is that? The zombie movie?
Overlord?
Overlord. Yeah.
Oh, with Dylan?
Yeah.
Dylan just messaged me and asked if I was in Secret Grief now.
Oh,
and
wow.
said he was so excited about it.
Aw, Dylan.
Am I allowed to say yes or no?
Yeah, I think we're at a point where everyone's just in it if they want to be in it. Not that like diminishes you being in it, but you are absolutely part of the squad now.
Hell yeah. Okay. He's really excited about the new song too, by the way.
Oh, cool.
So this plot summary, synopsis, whatever you want to call it, was from the press kit for this movie. So it's a little more detailed.
So it's official?
It's official. Go for it.
Well, okay, I do have one question before I read it. And this is me being
Okay.
being academic nerd Scott. Is it official? Is it from the official press kit in English, or was the official press kit in Greek and then translated into English?
I am going to guess that the official press kit would have been in English.
Okay.
Because most you would be sending it to critics and film fests, right? And those will probably primarily not be in Greece.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm going to talk later about how I found one line so psychotic, but then I thought that maybe it's because of translation stuff instead of actually being weird. Okay. This is the synopsis.
You can do a voice if you want to.
Of Alps. A nurse, a nurse, a paramedic, a gymnast, and her coach have formed a service for hire. They stand in for dead people by appointment, hired by the relatives, friends, or colleagues of the deceased. The company is called Alps. The leader, the paramedic, calls himself Mount Blanc. Although Alps members operate under a discipline regime demanded by their leader, the nurse does not.
Hell yeah.
That's kind of weird. Like that's weird that that's the official one to me, but I guess it's fine. It does tell you what happens. I don't know, just like the leader.
Well, here's what I think.
The leader, the paramedic.
I think that knowing what's going on in this movie, this is like such a rare case because actually I want to ask, what did you know about this movie before you came into it? Did you watch a trailer?
Nothing.
Did you, was nothing at all? You just turned it on?
I literally turned it on and started watching.
Okay, cool. I love that I have that power. So I didn't know anything about it besides obviously that it was a Yorgos movie. I did know that it had something vaguely to do with death, but I didn't know what or anything. That was all I knew. And I always go into movies that way. I don't know anything. I might know like an actor in it or something, but I don't. I try and stay away from. I never watch trailers. I never read synopsis. I really try and not know as much as possible. And I think that's typically the best way to go into a movie, I believe. I think this is the only movie I've ever seen where I think that is not true.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's very like. I think watching it directly after Dogtooth helped me in some sense because I got the vibe, right? Like I knew in some sense I didn't need to know exactly what was going on to take in the movie. So that, I wasn't like too worried about understanding the plot per se because I knew it would just happen.
Yeah.
I knew there'd be a bit of mystery, right? Like not everything was going to be answered. Unless he drastically changed up his directing style in between two movies.
No, he has a pretty since the favorite is really the only one that like severely switches from his typical style. I think everything else is pretty cohesive in his filmography. So yeah, it's pretty consistent in his filmography up until the favorite. So if you know one, you kind of know what you're in for. In general.
That's what I kind of thought. So
yeah,
just went for it.
I don't know what it was because I typically don't feel like I need things explained for me or, I'm usually fine with being a little lost, but I just felt like my idea of what was happening was so vague and I didn't really get it for a while and for so long. And it almost pissed me off.
Uh-oh.
Maybe a little pissed off. So I think at least knowing like a little bit going into this would probably be helpful. And I wonder like if a lot of the critics' reviews are like skewed because of that too. Like if they wouldn't have read the press kit or whatever, would their opinion be different?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. The only thing, the only thing I saw was the synopsis that I saw was just like one sentence that was like a group of people impersonate, deceased people. Like that's basically as much as I got out of it. So I was like, okay, this seems.
So
a
you
little
knew
weird.
a little.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I did know that.
But I didn't know that much. I didn't know that much
Okay.
even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that makes the ambulance scene, like knowing that, you're like, okay, I see what's going on here. Like why the fuck is this guy asking this person who's dying who her favorite actor is?
Yeah, and I'm sitting here like, what is happening? Also, with that, I have a mild face blindness, and in Greek movies, it's really hard because let's just say Greek people have strong genes, and they're they're similar looking to each other, right? So I can't tell people
Redacted.
apart a lot. Greek people don't come for me, but it's true. So, look, I'm Polish. We have our own thing too, so it's fine. But
no, actually, I thought the gymnast actress was the same actress from Dogtooth, the younger sister, for like the first 15 minutes. So, I'm with you.
But it's not, right?
It's not, yeah.
But the older sister is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought the chick in the ambulance and the gymnast were the same person. Couldn't tell them apart. I don't know. I got some of the men confused. I was having a hard time. Or I couldn't also tell sometimes. I'm like, am I looking at a different person? Because I know that I get people confused. I'm like, is this the same guy from earlier or is this a different guy? And I just think he looks the same. So
yeah. I think I had that with... I think I had that with her dad.
Yeah.
The nurse's dad and another character too. I was like, wait, is this the guy that she's like, I don't know, working for, or is this really her dad? Like, yeah. So I guess I get it. Redacted.
Yeah. So it was complicated. Don't redact. Okay, so saying all that, I think I would like to get ahead of what do they exactly do, say it out up top, and then go more through the movie, even though it technically isn't revealed until about 30 minutes into the movie.
Except for my synopsis where it was revealed right away. So.
Well, there was a little bit in the synopsis, yeah. But we'll go into a little more detail. Okay, so we have a crew. They call themselves the Alps. They are like surrogates for deceased people. When somebody dies, they're hired by people's families, and they stand in place of the person who died, learning scripts from the families. They dress in clothes of the dead person they're impersonating. They sometimes do little tasks or just whatever they're asked to do by the people who hired them. And they get paid for this. The gig economy, babe. So they're making money on the side because they all also have day jobs, famously, in this film.
I wasn't quite sure what the money situation looked like here, because to me, like, this seems such like a psychotic thing to do, that especially because they're keeping it secret, that they should be getting paid so much, but they're also doing other jobs. Is that just a front to make sure that they don't get caught? Or I don't know. The sense of time was also very warped in this movie, because they always seem to be in that gymnasium. So it's like, when's this guy driving the ambulance? Like,
oh yeah, true. Yeah, we don't see him do a lot of ambulance work.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of them have even like pretty well paying jobs. Like paramedics probably pay decent, but the one chick's a nurse. Like, yeah. It's interesting to think about that everybody needs two jobs. You know, that's like something that's happening in the world now.
Maybe they just love work so much.
Maybe so.
Losers.
I doubt it. But also, like, two of their jobs help facilitate this group too, because they work in healthcare, in emergency services.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Because I was reading something about this online that said the nurse was newly initiated into the group at the start of the movie. Did you have any idea that happened? Am I just dumb and missed something?
No, I don't believe that to be true, but I believe I also read that.
Okay. I'm glad you also don't believe it, because I was like, this cannot be true, right?
They don't give too much, like, history. We kind of start where we are and move forward.
Yeah, true.
But one thing he does say when... Okay, so the leader is played by the paramedic, the leader of the group. And he's the one who says we're going to name ourselves the Alps. And when he says that, he says, oh, we've been searching for a name for such a long time, and this is the name that I've settled on. So that's like the only implication I think that we get that they've even had like a history, that they're not just starting now. They have some kind of history as a group.
Yeah. That's true.
There also in the press kit apparently were 15 rules for this group that were sent out. And that's the only mention of these rules I've ever seen. They're not in the movie, but I have them. And I'm not going to read them all, but a couple of them come into play throughout the film.
Don't have sex with your client.
Yeah, basically that's one of them. Never.
Also, I was going to make a bad joke about that they have 3 more rules than Jordan Peterson. So any young men out there. Mean? Jordan Peterson had that book 12 Rules for Life.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Bless you for not
That's
knowing.
A joke for the smart people, the readers out there.
I don't
Scott
know
has to
if
educate me.
I don't know if I would say that.
What is it?
I think.
Who's Jordan Peterson?
Do you really not know who Jordan Peterson is? Oh my God. He's a professor, or will always be, I don't know, a professor at University of Toronto who refused to use preferred pronouns, and he sounds like Kermit the Frog, and he just has all of these insane sound clips that go around the internet every, I don't know, week.
I don't know this guy.
He sounds like this. Oh, he also
I don't keep up with hateful content.
He famously cries at Disney movies because of their like beauty and like what they represent about the old world.
Okay, interesting.
He also got mad that he got banned from Twitter and made these psychotic videos.
How many facts are we getting?
I just have to do this one impression. He posted this psychotic video where it just ended with him being like, "Up yours, woke moralists."
Okay, that was worth it.
and the whole 12 rules for life thing. The whole 12 rules for life thing was like basically shit like clean your room, like wash your dishes, and then also like women are chaos dragons.
This rocks.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is...
So go buy his book.
No. What I was going to say is that, his whole thing is like self-improvement, but he couldn't even write as many rules as Alps did. So Alps kind of fucked him.
Hell yeah. Although, I don't know, what year is all this book and shit happening?
Oh, true. I don't know that much. But whenever he gets...
Wow. You know his opinions on Disney movies, but you don't know what year this book came out?
Listen, I only know what I know.
What else were you going to say? You had something else.
It's also funny to really say things like, clean your room, piggy. Sort of mix the two personas together.
Yeah.
Anyway, I get paid to think.
And now you can turn brain off. We're off the clock, after hours, after dark, etc. And do stupid shit with me.
Podcasting after dark.
Well, famously, my last segment of the show, which you wouldn't know because you only listen to half an episode, is called ScreenVomit After Dark. That's fine. I've only been doing it for 3.5 years. You'll get it one day.
Oh my God, I deserve this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so can I guess more rules? So one is absolutely no sexual behavior with clients, right?
Well, it's a little more than it like is that, but it's a little more. Must never get emotionally involved with clients or have intimate relations with them.
Okay,
is the rule.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, guess another one. You didn't have any guesses?
That's just the only one that seems so obvious. I don't know.
You asked to guess.
I know. Really egg on my face moment here. Maybe you okay, another one has to be you can't do this without telling the rest of the group, right? Something along the lines of like you can't go rogue and do this on your own. Because isn't that the whole like drama at the end? Well,
that
not at the end, but throughout
of.
the whole.
I don't think it's technically a rule, though.
Interesting. Okay, what are the other ones? I really want to know.
You want to know
Are they
all of
things-
them?
Well, would I have guessed them if I didn't, like, from the movie, could you infer these, or are they all just, like, you know, kind of like a...
I think a couple you could infer. A couple are like you would never, ever guess. Okay, so here are the ones that I think
never
are...
ever guess.
I'm going to tell you the ones I think are important to our future discussion, and then I'll tell you the rest. How about that?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so one is can never talk Alps activities with non-Alps members, okay?
Okay, yeah, that one, yeah.
Don't talk Fight Club, etc. Should always be smart, clean, punctual, and in complete control.
Okay.
Must be able to make convincing facial expressions such as sadness, happiness, despair, etc.
Okay.
Which I don't think anybody in this film does. Must honor the title of their membership and be ready to kill or die for it.
Holy shit!
Okay. And must never attack another Alps member and must believe in teamwork. That's one rule.
Okay. Weird that that's one, but... Okay.
I know. And then other ones include cannot change physical appearance without the leader's permission, like dyeing your hair, losing or gaining weight, wearing colored contact lenses. One is must be over 14 years of age. One is obliged to take the gymnastics club test if necessary. One is must respect other Alps members. Is obliged to support under all circumstances the interests of the Alps group. Must have some basic knowledge of psychology and sociology. Must also declare in advance the things he or she is good at by filling out Form 2, e.g. dancing, water skiing, discussing, etc. And must declare in advance the things he or she is unwilling to do by filling out Form 1, e.g. kissing, lifting weights, traveling, etc. I read those in reverse order. So those are the rules. Written by Mont Blanc, leader of the Alps group, January 2008. It's signed. It's signed 2008, even though this didn't come out till... Actually, so there's our timeline. It's signed 2008, although this didn't come out till 2012. So I guess they've been doing this for 4 years.
Yeah.
At least.
Well, it depends. Did the movie actually take place in 2012? Or maybe, like, we still don't really know,
At best,
right?
I think it took place in 2011. Because it would have been doing festivals in 2011. So 2010 or 2011... Imagine make a movie in 2012 and setting it in 2008, like 4 years earlier for no reason.
That's kind of funny. I don't remember The Lobster enough to say this certainly, but I seem to have the same vibe of that all of his movies have this, like, you don't really know when it is or where it is or why right? Like there's no like branding on anything. There's no... There's no signs of like...
They live in their own universe.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, they exist in their own timeline outside of society.
Yeah. I quite like that because that's what I mean. Like, there's really no indication of when it takes place.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
I
like
see.
some of the technology, but...
Yeah, interesting. Good point. Oh, also, after this film was made, they discovered that there is a company in, I think, Japan that hires actors to behave like wives in real life. So they were like, that's fucked up, that there is kind of this thing.
The point of this movie wasn't that this was a good thing that we should put all through society to have deceased actors?
Ultimately, it's bad, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's bad. Well, they...
Yeah, I don't know how deep we want to go at this moment, but it is just like it's just like a fucked up... It's just like a fucked up thing to have to do as like a person, right? It's
a fucked up thing to have to do as a person, but also, like, is it even helpful to the people who are grieving?
That's what I mean. It's fucked up on both ends.
Which it never even really answers. Yeah.
Yeah, the only one that seemed like they were doing kind of okay was the dancing guy to me.
The coach?
No. Like the one that went to the dance hall and danced with the
the dad.
new friend. Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't know if he's a client or not.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so... The members of this group, we've kind of sort of mentioned a couple, kind of sort of not. So we have a gymnast girl who does like ribbon dancing.
Yeah. And
she has a coach. So they're kind of like a little pair. A coach who she has like a, how would you characterize their relationship?
Not great. I would say that it's unclear why, he's
mean. He's mean to her and like abusive.
Mean is, I was going to say mean is an understatement. He's definitely abusive.
Yeah.
I mean, what, the first scene he hits her, right?
I don't remember if he hits her, but I know he like threatens her really seriously and is like, I'll cut off your arms and legs and whatever he says. Just because she wants to dance to a pop song, but he will only let her dance to classical music.
Yeah, I mean, that being the opening scene, I was just like, what the fuck is happening? Like...
Hell yeah.
Why is she ribbon dancing to this not only like classical song, but it's like the song they play for like to pump the crowd up in sports stadiums.
Is it? What
Yeah.
song is it? I wish I knew
don't
what it
remember
was
the
called.
name. Yeah, I my first note is literally look up name of pump up song, but I never looked it up.
I wonder if it says on IMDb.
Also, my second note was me laughing at the coach saying, "You're not ready for pop."
And you said, damn, that hits me hard.
Yeah.
Oh Fortuna, Carmina, Burana. So yeah, it's the song Oh Fortuna.
Oh Fortuna plays, and she's fucking pissed. This old fucking coach comes, and he's like, "You did good," and she's like, "I don't give a shit. I want to do pop." And he's like, and he says, "Oh, I don't know what a Greek accent sounds like," and I probably shouldn't do it on mic, but he says, "You're not ready for pop," and then she's like, "You suck, old man," and then he gets abusive. So that's the start of the movie.
Well, he was like, he implies that he will know when she's ready.
Oh, that's
for
right.
pop.
Yeah.
He will say
So, yeah.
when she's
Right.
ready for pop. He's the only one who knows. Yeah.
Yeah, which is also just like hilarious. This old man being like, "I know when you're ready for pop."
Yeah. And we have no idea what his credentials are. We don't see him with any other gymnasts.
That's right.
Gymnasts. Okay, too long on the opening scene. The third guy of the crew is the paramedic, who we've talked about is the leader. We kind of cut from that to this scene of him in the back of an ambulance with a patient who has been hit by a car, teen girl. And then the fourth person is the nurse, who also plays the older sister in Dogtooth. She's my favorite. I love her so much. She's so good.
Yeah, she rules. Psycho, but she rules.
Yeah. She is such... Her brand of acting is so her own. I don't think anybody else could do it like her. She's amazing. All right, so from this point, we're set up with what the fuck are the Alps. So I think at this point, maybe we can make more comparisons between this and Dogtooth because they're so apparent just from the setup of the film. And so you've seen Dogtooth, I've seen Dogtooth. What are your first thoughts? I know you had thoughts earlier.
It's interesting because, right, Dogtooth is so, like, I mean, you get a little bit outside with the dad, but you're at the house, like, you're clearly in this weird, like, parallel world. You don't really understand why they're doing the things. They never sort of give you anything as to why certain things are happening. I mean, they're things that might make you think one thing or the other, but at the end of the day, like, this is really isolated to this one weird family that doesn't really interact with the world outside.
Yeah.
But Alps kind of takes that same idea, but now it says, let's get this weird sort of insular group and let's have them interact with the outside world and see what sort of takes place.
So Lanthimos kind of considers them opposites. Sort of the way that you're saying. So like where Dogtooth is like a person trying to escape a fictitious world, Alps is about people trying to enter sort of fictitious world. Yeah.
I think that's right.
And both are driven to madness in their journey by the same person.
Yeah, it is because in both, like, obviously we don't get the outside world much in Dogtooth, but in both of them, there's just like not a single indicator. Like I brought this up earlier, but there's not a single indicator of like any corporation existing, any like any brand existing, except this like I don't know if you know the reason behind this, but in Dogtooth, the only logo you see is on the sisters' bathing suits. It's an Adidas. They're both Adidas bathing suits, and for some reason, it's like I'm glad we're talking about Dogtooth because this like drove me crazy. I didn't look up if there's a reason for this, but literally all you see is the Adidas logo on these two bathing suits, and then maybe a little bit when the dad's out and about. But I found that very striking, right? Because you're so used to not seeing anything that when you do see something,
I'm surprised I didn't notice that because I used to work for Adidas and I hate them so much that I'd always notice when I see their what.
I'm glad I'm not wearing any Adidas now.
I've been boycotting Adidas for, let's say, 12 years, ever since I worked there in terrible conditions for 3 years.
Well, not looking at a pair of Adidas shoes at my feet right now.
Well, you live your life, but I'm just saying I don't support them.
Yes, it's good to have principles. I should have
and
more.
I am surprised that because I just I'm only recently finding out how much stuff that because I don't really think about it. I just it's like for instance, we haven't eaten meat in so long, you don't even think about it anymore, right? It's like it doesn't occur to you that meat is like a food. So like there's so much stuff that like I just like boycott and I don't even think about it. It doesn't exist to me anymore. But lately, something that has just randomly happened on the podcast several times is what just happened, where somebody mentions something and I go, oh, I've actually been boycotting them for 12 years. But I just never think about it.
Yeah.
But it turns out that I boycott a lot of stuff.
Wow.
And I just don't think about it. So
now I'm wondering if I boycott stuff and I don't think about it.
Yeah.
Since we're sort of at the start of the movie again, the line that like tripped me up. Oh, I guess we were talking about the
it's right at the beginning.
Dogtooth, but whatever. But the line that tripped me up is, so the woman in the ambulance is a tennis player. I don't know if that was mentioned explicitly yet.
Yeah.
And she gets taken to the hospital and her parents show up. And then the nurse goes out and starts talking to them. And one of the first questions she asks is, does your daughter have a favorite wristband? And I just thought that was so funny. Like,
is that what she says?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I thought they just give her a wristband and then they say it's her favorite wristband.
I think that's later, and like she brought it up initially or something.
Interesting.
I'm fairly certain because my note is like, is favorite wristband a thing?
Well, maybe it's because she's a tennis player and they do those like sweat wristband things.
Yeah. I mean, I'm certain,
and that's what it is ultimately, right?
Yeah, but just in that moment, I was just like, favorite wristband?
She's a player, and they have those things.
Allegedly,
and we're not sportsmen; we don't think about them.
Allegedly, she's good.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly, her mother was like a pro or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I wanted to make it known that one,
you've been holding in this wristband comment.
Yeah, I'm watching this very serious movie and just thinking, is favorite wristband a thing? And then, of course, when the wristband shows up, I was hooting and hollering. Like, oh, there it is.
Hell yeah, I love to hoot and holler for a wristband watching a Yorgos Lanthimos movie.
Chekhov's wristband.
That's amazing. Okay, the only other thing I was going to say about the comparisons to Dogtooth, and then we can move on from it, is that they're both of these films are really heavily based on lies, not just like people being liars or lying, but like their entire reality is a lie, which is kind of interesting thing to explore. And then secondly, they're both kind of about an alternate family sort of group that operates according to their own set of rules and is unsettling. Unsettling to like our sense of what is even just like normal basic human interaction. But also in every way. So it's just interesting that they're so similar, and they came out maybe 2 years apart, and I like Dogtooth so much better. But that's neither here nor there.
I did want to say that, but yeah. Well, especially watching them back to back, like, you can
see where the strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because
I've seen Dogtooth a lot of times because I love it so much. Mm-hmm.
Right away. Okay, so I haven't said this explicitly, but my PhD is in linguistics, so I'm just a nerd about everything language related. This is for the normals
normals
out there.
might remember. What's the movie Arrival? We did Arrival for the pod, and I mentioned my friend who studies linguistics in that, and that would be this friend here, Scott Nelson. Go ahead.
That's right, expanding the ScreenVomit universe. No, I was obsessed in Dogtooth with, they never explain it, but they have these language tapes they listen to, but the words are wrong. Like
the word replacement.
And you see this, the word replacement. But it's seemingly arbitrary too. Like, and I was just obsessed with that. Like for me, if nothing else, that's my favorite part of Dogtooth or Alps was just like, especially when you see when you see it happen live, right? Like towards the middle end of Dogtooth when. I don't know. I mean, I know one that
I knew you were thinking about it. I know when Scott's thinking about that pussy.
Oh my God. But yeah, he's like, or she's like, what's a pussy? And the mom's like, it's a lamp. Okay, this rules.
And you said, that's true. That's my experience.
Yeah. I was like, wait a second. Yeah, I was like,
I love Lamp.
the mom is just being nice and telling and informing her daughter about a new word.
Yeah.
Okay, but this is the Alps podcast, not the Dogtooth podcast.
This is Alps and not the Dogtooth podcast. Although it's becoming a combo ep. But I think we'll move on from the Dogtooth because it doesn't really, it doesn't stay that, close to it. But there's just comparisons that have to be named. Before we can move on from them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we got some clients. We can meet some clients. I think the first one we meet is just a consultation. And I think this is where you find out fully like the explanation of what they're doing, I think, because when you see the consultation, you see this guy come in and sort of describe his friend T to B, what he was like, his mannerisms, his quirks, stuff he would say. And then the leader guy brings in another man and says, puts a hat on him and goes, is this good enough?
I thought that was so funny. Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, that'll do.
The hat is almost like comically small on his head.
And doesn't he have hair? He has like big hair. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty funny. But yeah, that's how we kind of like get a real idea of what they're doing. And then we just see it played out, practiced. A bunch of times after that. We got like a blind lady the blind lady hires both the coach person and the nurse, right? That's right. Somebody's playing her husband and the nurse is playing like a best friend. And then we have the lamp store guy who speaks English. That's right. And the nurse plays like his mistress. His apparently dead mistress. What, did he kill his mistress?
I wasn't quite sure what happened there, yeah. Or maybe there was the scene in the shop, right? Which, like, I want to talk about the end of that scene because
we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
That's in the future.
Also,
when Scott's thinking about that pussy.
Yeah, also, if we want to talk about sort of continuing themes between Dogtooth and Alps.
Yeah.
And if I'm remembering correctly, the lobster. Mm-hmm. My man loves to have men go down on their ladies. We'll
talk about that later.
But no, before that, in the lamp store, they were kind of doing a scene, right? Like she was leaving or something. So I didn't know if that was maybe she had left and like he was just trying to process it or something by doing it a bunch of times or what. Yeah, I wasn't quite sure what was going on there.
That's interesting. I didn't think about that. It never occurred to me to think about how did all of these people die that they are replacing. Some of them we know. Like, we know the one girl was the tennis player who died in the hospital. We know that. We know probably the blind lady's husband is just old. I don't know. But, like, the mistress, we kind of see a violent interaction between her and the blind woman later on.
Yeah, that's right.
Did the blind woman kill her? Did the guy kill his mistress? Are these people just replacing people that they murdered? We don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in some sense, to be an effective group, Alps has to have low morals, right? Because it's not like a bunch of people are seeking this out, right? They sort of have to take whoever they can get. So, and
sometimes they are seeking out the clients. Like,
that's right.
In the case of the tennis girl, they become kind of like obsessed with her since she comes into the hospital because they think she will die. So they're kind of like the leader guy. Also, none of the characters have names, by the way. Should mention, I normally am bad with names and I never call the characters their names, but they literally don't have names in this movie. So I'm scot-free on this one. So the leader guy goes to the nurse and says, this person's kind of fucked up. They're probably going to die. Why don't you work the family, basically? Mm-hmm. So sometimes they are even scouting their clientele. Yeah, so they become kind of obsessed with this tennis girl. I love the scene of the nurse playing tennis with her in the hospital bed. God. I think is my favorite.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because she's like fucked up. We don't know all of her injuries, but she has like internal bleeding. She's like doing bad and she can't really move. So they just like plant a tennis racket in her hand and throw a ball at her.
What's even better is that she misses one time from like a foot away. I could watch that on loop forever, I think.
It's pretty amazing, and what a great idea.
Yeah, truly.
I love that. And then we get another little vignette with the gymnast like fucking up one of her client things where she didn't say a line she was supposed to. And when her coach says he's going to have to tell the boss about it, she's upset that she won't get to play the car accident girl too. So they're all kind of like really like anticipating having this car accident client.
Mm-hmm.
This car accident victim who plays tennis. So she does end up dying, and the nurse is there at the time and offers her services first. So the other girl doesn't even get a chance to be the tennis girl. And she gives a breakdown 2 to 3 hours a week, and she's offering the first 4 sessions for free. So she's really obsessed with this family.
Yeah. This was part of my like trying to figure out how much these sessions actually cost. Because like if you can do the first 4 free, like either you really want it or, you know, the next 4 are going to be like multiple thousands each, right? So you just...
Well, I was thinking because... So the nurse ends up lying to the rest of the group and telling them that the car accident girl miraculously recovered. She's going to live. Forget about her. But she secretly takes the job. And so I was thinking that because she's so determined and attached to this girl, she's so determined to take the job, that she is offering them for free, not as standard practice, but as desperation. Yeah.
I think that's right.
We also see the gymnast get tortured a little bit, too, from fudging up those lines, by the way. Hanging upside down from her ankles and being made to say the lines over and over again. Gorgeous.
The gymnast really, I mean, she's clearly the youngest, right? I mean, there's a lot of layers of...
We don't know how, but she has to be at least 14.
14, yeah.
14 or over. Mm-hmm.
But she's by far treated the worst overtly in the movie.
Yeah, definitely. And then we also meet a dad character, the nurse's dad, that she sort of takes care of and lives with, allegedly. So the structure becomes like a little bit repetitive, where it just goes back and forth between scenes of the group together at the gym, scenes of the nurse at home with her dad, and then interspersed with little vignettes of the Alps people doing their business. But every time that the same kind of scene is shown over again, every time we go back to the gym, every time we go back to her and her dad or her with another client, it's escalated a little bit into something a little crazier. So it's just like a slow escalation every time we return to each of these areas too, which is interesting. And to the point where sometimes the lines get kind of blurred on when are they in character, when are they normal, acting of their own volition, their own brain, doing the stuff they want to do. A lot of boundaries get a little blurred as we go on.
One that was like very, when are they working, when are they not working, was so the coach, his barber dies at one point, and he's like upset by this, and maybe Mount Blanc, the leader, was like, are you going to go to the funeral? And he's like, no, why would I go to the funeral? He just like doesn't know how to grieve. And I guess to fully tell this story, there's another fairly large plot point that needs to be mentioned, which is the nurse walks into the gym to find the...
We didn't get there yet.
Yeah, I know. But now I need... Well...
Can we hit one thing in between there, the here and there, which is the sex scenes?
Oh, yes. Wait, scenes? Did I miss one?
Can we hit the pussy first?
Oh my god.
There's 2.
There's 2.
There's the scene at the blind lady's house, and there's the scene with the lamp guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So put a pin in what you were about to say, and we'll go to these sex scenes.
Okay. Well, one is related to the sex. It was related to the sex scene.
Okay, so
let's just talk about the lamp. Let's just talk about the lamp guy and then the other stuff. Because so we're first, maybe not first, but part of the introduction to the lamp guy is he goes to the beach with the nurse and watches the nurse swim, and he asks her, "Are you cold?" So I was gonna compliment how much I loved the sound design in this movie because it was very like realistic and roomy and like not
it was a vibe.
Overdubbed, except for the beach scene where it's so windy out, but they have this perfect conversation from like 30 feet away. But he asks her if she's cold, and she's like, no, of course not. And I was like, what the fuck is she talking about? Like, it's super windy, he's wearing a jacket, like how is she not cold? And then it's revealed, like, you know, winter swimmers can't be cold, or she says something like that, so I assume that's part of the personality of this woman she's trying to emulate.
Yeah.
But before then, they go to dinner, right? And he gives the most fucking boring explanation about different like lighting types.
Yeah.
Different lamps.
And he expects her to have them memorized too.
Yeah. At this point, I wrote down, people really just want someone to listen to their boring bullshit. like, like at the end of the day, that's all we really want,
it's
right?
So
is
true.
It's true. Like we're all fucking boring. We just want someone who will like smile and say,
AKA
"Yes,
my podcast." Thank you.
Oh, come on.
I force people to sit here and listen to me talk about my boring bullshit.
But it's also a bit endearing, right? Like especially for like this was a romantic relation of some type. Like, you know, just finding someone who will, I don't know.
It's an honor to be the person that someone shares their boring bullshit with.
Yeah. Yeah, I think both ways, right? Like accepting your partner or whoever's, I mean, it doesn't even need to be romantic, like just a friend. Like this person's boring bullshit, and also I like that they care about me enough to share this fucking dumb shit. I don't know. It's just weird human hours right now on the pod.
Yeah.
Yeah. But oh my God, it was the most boring conversation at the dinner though. Like
yeah,
that's
and he's
really
just like
what
telling her
struck
different
it.
types of lamps. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or lighting.
But then we get to the actual lamp store, and that's where
they first reenact a fight scene.
Yes.
We don't
And
always know like if they're reenacting something that already happened, if they are like rewriting history or what is happening. It seems like sometimes could be a little bit of one or the other. We don't always know. But they do reenact or enact a fight twice.
Yeah, the scene in the lamp store was like a Tommy Wiseau movie. Because part of it was
the first time
this
that
like
she delivers the line.
Yeah, yeah. Part of it was this just like clearly accented English, you know, because like Tommy Wiseau has
because they're Greek.
just
Okay,
fucking
be racist
insane
against
accent.
them.
Redacted. But yeah, it was
They're
giving me
non-native
strong
English speakers.
Yeah, it was giving me strong Tommy Wiseau vibes. But it was great. Like I loved
That's
it.
what I think that main girl who's also in Dogtooth has like an exceptional ability to deadpan deliver stuff. And I think that's it's like weirdly a hard thing to do, to deliver something completely emotionless and deadpan in such a way that she does. Only she can do it, I think. But she does it great in this scene.
Yeah, yeah. No, this scene is like great. Like I don't know if your listeners will understand that me saying something like a Tommy Wiseau movie is a compliment. Like I consider that a compliment.
Yeah.
Like it's incredible.
It's one of a kind. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So they reenact this fight, and then the dude gets super horny, goes into fuck mode.
Yeah.
Yorgos has this thing where he does this in a lot of movies, where he has these types of sex scenes that are so like frank and mechanical and intentional and uncomfortable, like couldn't be less like passionate, couldn't be less sexy. They're just very like matter of fact. Same with the violence, actually, that it's so just like matter of fact. It's almost not impactful at all. There's almost no emotion attached to it. It just happens. It is, you know. You never see sex like that in film.
Yeah, it's very striking, right? That just like especially in Alps, where like ultimately it seems the whole goal of the organization is to create these like emotion-filled moments with the clientele. And this is just like going off book to have the least emotional moment of all time. Like to the point that she's just laughing through all of it, right? Like like he wants to feel like a god, and she's just like, come on, guy, come on.
He makes her say, please don't you stop, it feels like heaven. That's the line he makes her say.
And
it
she
feels
says it like
heaven.
3 or 4 times. Yeah. It's so
and starts
good.
laughing.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
my
amazing.
thought was like he was gonna freak out because she started laughing, but it's also like great that the shot is literally just her like cackling almost, and then it just cuts out. Like a small wink to the audience that yes, this is as absurd as you think it is.
Yeah, it's absurd for her too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And she also mentions, even though like the rules aren't an official part of the movie, or like at least they're never mentioned in the movie, they are, I guess, officially affiliated. She mentions that if the boss found out, that they would have to end their arrangement.
Yeah, that's right.
So she knows that there is a rule that they're not allowed to have sexual engagement, but she carries on anyway.
That's why I was so good at guessing that one rule.
Yeah. And then at the blind lady's house, she also has to do another sex scene where she pretends to have an affair with the blind lady's husband, who is also the coach, because she's hired 2 surrogates. Yeah, so just like another, they're all breaking the rules. And it's just like an escalation of expectations from her too.
Yeah. So my memory was that this happened right after the haircut scene. Because it kind of like went right in from the haircut scene into that. That's where I was kind of going, where you sort of had these like blurred lines between, are they working? Like, you know, when are they working? What are they doing? Because the nurse walks into the gym to find the gymnast has attempted to hang herself, and she basically saves her.
And what was the reason?
And because she can't do a pop song.
So like the turmoil, the inner turmoil of what they receive emotionally from their clients, and that is affection, that's spite, that's whatever it is, for being someone else. They're getting attention for being someone else. You're getting affection for being someone else. It starts driving them crazy, everything that's going on with them. And that's like the first, I guess the sex stuff is like a small indicator, but this attempted suicide is like a larger indicator that they are going crazy from what's happening to them.
Yeah, because what we see, so my question that I still don't really have an answer for is, so after this happens, so we know already that the barber of the coach died.
Yeah.
And we see the nurse and the coach at lunch or something, and the nurse is like upset about what just happened, upset for her, I don't know, would we call her a friend, a coworker, a
colleague?
Like, what's the colleague? Yeah. And she says to the coach, like, I will do anything. Like, she literally says, I will do anything. And it sort of like sets you up to think that they're going to have this like weird, gross sex.
Yeah. But instead,
he asks her to give him a haircut. But then this scene rolls right into the like blind lady sex scene. That's why I was like, it's kind of a weird like juxtaposition of everything. Like, when are they working? When are they not working? Like, are they supposed to be, you know, having these lunches and intimate haircutting sessions? Well, it was it looked like it was in a hotel room, right? Like, so they really play it like, you know, they're gonna have this just like weird, gross sex.
They're toying with expectations. Yeah. You expect them to have sex, but instead,
classic
something
movie
else.
making.
So yeah, like, is she then a surrogate for his barber? Like, is he sort of in a way like hiring her service to be his barber who died, who he was like, I've never gone to another barber in my life. I would never go to another barber. I can't go to my barber's shop and that barber just not be there. That's weird. So he's made it a point to say that he will only let this one person cut his hair. So in the scene, you know that she is being that one person.
But this is also why it's this. This is also why it's weird, because it does roll right into the sex scene. And then, so is he thinking, am I fucking my barber?
She's off the clock for the barber hours at that point, and on the clock for BFF hours, BFF mistress hours.
Yeah. I also did not realize that woman was blind until I was reading stuff about it after the fact. So
really?
So all of my analysis now, please take with a grain of salt.
Wow. Okay. I felt like they mentioned it. Somehow I picked it up, and I'm stupid, so it must have been mentioned.
Yeah, I don't know.
And she has to read an article to the lady who kind of like stares into space at all times. Yeah. She reads an article about Winona Ryder.
How did I not put that? I was just like, oh, this is nice. She's reading the article for her friend. Like, I thought they were just like that was just what they did. They read together. And so
Aw, I love your idea of friendship.
Yeah, next time we hang out, I'm just gonna read you articles.
Aw, that's so cute. So the nurse, also losing her damn mind, becomes like addicted to being that one family's dead daughter, the dead car accident victim / tennis player.
Yeah.
She misses an Alps meeting because she's cuddling with the tennis girl's dad and then lies to the leader about it and says that she was working and had to cover for someone. And so that makes him suspicious, and he starts to follow her around.
Yeah.
And she goes back again to that house to meet that girl's boyfriend because her surrogacy includes dating the guy that girl was dating, the teenage girl was dating.
Yep.
And they do a whole reenactment with the parents who like catch them making out or whatever, catch him being in her room. And that's the end of that session, but she invites that boy to her house afterwards, which is another, like, is she the character? Is she her? We don't know anymore.
Yeah.
Because he's a teen and she's, like, all right. She's, like, in her 30s or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, they go back to her place, and I just love the like youthful conversation with her dad, like, I'm gonna play music, just let me know if it's too loud. Like,
yeah. But then you also got to be like, okay, so she says that's her dad. They do all this stuff about, oh, your mom would have done this and whatever. But is he also a client? We kind of don't know.
Right, especially because we know that she already lies about her clientele to the rest of the group. So, yeah.
So,
I mean, I think that's intentional.
We kind of don't know.
Yeah.
So with this like relationship she starts with this teen boy, she fully makes the move from reality world to fiction world, and it just kind of continues to spiral from here.
Yeah.
She even tells her dad that she's like, oh, he's younger than I am, but we're such a good match because we have so much in common.
Yeah.
Like, what do they have in common? We don't know. She lies about where they met. I think we see her cry once. While she's telling this lie, she starts to cry while eating. So she's breaking. It's kind of unclear if any of them have, like, actual home lives. Like, do they have families? Do they have friends? Or is everything we see of them part of them being something else, part of them imitating someone else? There's one part where the nurse goes to visit the younger girl at her house, or at whatever house she was at, I guess. And she tells her mom this is a friend from school and she can't come out and play right now.
Well, I was trying to figure this out. What was that, the tennis player girl's house? Like they had replaced her with the gymnast? Because that's right when she gets caught. Because right after, you go back to the gym and she... I wasn't certain that was the case, but it almost seemed like it. Because again,
that
why
did
would
not occur to me at all, but that would make sense.
Why would the family be mad at the end, right? Like, well, other than breaking their glass door and sneaking into the house in the middle of the night, why would they be mad? You know, like.
Well, I think those are pretty valid reasons.
Yeah, I know.
I don't understand why they were mad. All she did was break their entire door down, come into their house, and chill in their dead daughter's room. Why would they be mad about that?
Yeah, why would they? I mean, completely
I don't know if it
unreasonable.
It could make sense either way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could make sense either way. Either that girl was playing the tennis girl, or she was being herself in her home, and either way makes sense. Because the leader was also following her, so he knows where she's been going.
Yeah. It is weird to think that they have normal home lives too, though, because if they have full-time jobs and Alps duties, like, how do you explain that to the rest of your family? Like, oh yeah, I've got poker night tonight.
and when do you ever have time to be who you are?
Well, I mean, I think this does raise that question of like, when do we ever have time to be who we are?
Damn, that's fucking so true.
Real fucking Reddit big brain.
Shit. Galaxy brain, yeah. Okay, so the bat scene with the leader who brings the nurse into a room with a bat or a club or whatever you want to call this thing, some sort of weapon, a blunt weapon, and says if it changes to red, it means you're too unreliable to stay with our group anymore.
Yeah.
And it doesn't change. It stays looking the same, but he does whop her in the head with it real good. And then says that it turned red and she has to go. But it's the same like Yorgos matter-of-fact violence where it's very blunt, it's very unemotional, and it just happens and then she leaves the room. It's not like a big outburst. There's no like struggle or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's interesting.
It just, I mean, like everything, it just happens, right? And then it's over. There's no, I mean, there is fallout from it, but there's just like, in the moment, there's like zero reaction to it. It's just like.
Yeah, it is very matter of fact. Mm-hmm.
You know, I was thinking about this though. if Alps is so secretive,
Mm-hmm.
how do they just kick someone out? Like, don't you think it would be a much bigger like deal? Like, we're kicking you out. If you ever mention this to anyone, we'll fucking kill you, right? You have to be ready to die for Alps. That was the rule. So why isn't death the...
Maybe she just knows. They all seem like a little bit scared of him anyway.
Yeah. What's his deal?
It's never really said why they are. Yeah. I don't think
what's
they
his
say.
deal?
He just, I don't know. He's just a classic angry man leader. And if they disappoint him or if they break his bond in any way, it feels like they expect retaliation, even though we haven't seen retaliation from him really. Except, well, I guess earlier we did see like the gymnast girl being hung by her feet. Yeah. So they know that there are rules that they need to stay within, and if they don't, they'll be punished, it seems. It's not really ever said why or, laid out that like point A leads to point B, but you just kind of feel that hanging in the air. Mm-hmm. So she gets a huge gash, has to give herself stitches, and just kind of hides her stitches with her hair. And at this point goes full psycho mode.
Absolutely.
She tries to put moves on her dad. She tries to honk his little weenie, honking on Bobo. He slaps her, says no, no, no. She leaves her dad's house and goes to the dance night that he likes. They went to this dance night previously. And like basically slam dances with an old lady.
Yeah, that scene ruled. Like I was trying to see. Well, it seemed like the music was speeding up and slowing down at I don't think it actually was, but that was just like the headspace that it put me in, that it was just like so jarring that it felt like time was just like sputtering around and like wasn't sort of moving in linear time. Like it was just sort of speeding up, slowing down. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was cool. I mean, obviously she's in full psycho mode here, but as I said earlier, she still fucking rules. She's like throwing this lady on the ground, like,
and nobody's stopping them or like reacting to it at all in any way. Yeah. But yeah, she's absolutely throwing this old lady around, slamming her on the floor. Basically ragdolling her. Yeah.
I don't remember when it happened, but there is a scene earlier too where she also dances like a psycho, just not like throwing people around, but when she returns to, I think it's her dad's house, right? She just suddenly starts like dancing like a psycho in front of him. Mm-hmm. So like clearly she uses this as like, I don't know, a way to well, all of these people are so emotionally stunted, right? Yeah, like this might be the way that she just like gets out some of that, just anything, because she's so, all of them are so repressed.
She also said the first time that she saw her dad doing the dance, she says like, oh, I didn't know you danced. And he's like, oh yeah, I used to dance with your mom back in the day or whatever. But that might be like another clue to like, is this her real dad or is this
right? Yeah, that makes sense.
A client. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we never really get full clarity on that. It's always kind of ambiguous. And then she does the breaking into the tennis girl's house, fully breaks into the house, goes and chills in her bed, and puts perfume on, and is straight chilling when she gets caught. And dragged out of the house screaming her lines.
There was such a big deal made about the lines, right? Like that was the reason the gymnast got in trouble, because she didn't match the lines. And then also the nurse, like we saw her do the same scene multiple times with the family. And then she's also doing it as she's just being dragged out. Like, no, don't you remember? I know the lines.
Yeah.
But did you also notice that on the bed frame, when she was breaking in and hiding, there were like stickers or something that said, "Who's that girl?" Like, I just thought that was just like a weird, like maybe intentional, just little thing that was included there. But yeah,
interesting.
You can definitely read "Who's that girl?" like either on the bed frame or like on a picture right behind the bed frame.
I'm thinking about like the general sets and kind of visuals of this movie. They are kind of their own style.
I thought the movie was quite like ugly to look at a lot of times.
Yeah.
I mean, intentionally, like not a like bad, framing.
It's more like
or
experimental. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I thought it just like very dull at times, very dark when it didn't need to be dark. Like I think it just is part of that. I don't know, just like sort of setting the mood.
Yeah.
There's just no emotion anywhere.
Yeah. The characters aren't always in full frame either. Yeah. Like sometimes you're just seeing part of a body and relying on the information that's being given from that. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting, but not gorgeous, but it's definitely its own style.
Yeah. No, I'm very much a fan of like nice beautiful looking movies,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm more a fan of interesting things, and this is interesting. So yeah,
Hell yeah.
I was a big fan of the general sound and visual aspects of the film, even though they're just like so bland and boring, but it just like is exactly what the movie needed, right? Like this movie would have absolutely fucking
It's right for
sucked.
the movie.
Yeah, this movie would have sucked if it had like really, beautiful sets and like really like perfectly heard lines and like, but here you
I
just
think
get like,
that's something that Yorgos is really skilled at too, is like setting an entire atmosphere of a film, like how you're saying, like every single thing is sort of meticulously placed or meticulously framed, or the sound and all that stuff. It all goes into one thing, the colors, to match the tone and vibe of whatever film it is, because they all have sort of a different style, but they're all distinctly appropriate for the whatever film they're in of his.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think that's an area where he's very, very skilled. Tone is probably his strongest attribute as a filmmaker, that he's so adept at making these insane tones and then being so consistent and so thorough with them.
No, honestly, because I think I am bad at describing movies I like, I care way more about vibe than anything else. Like vibe, visual, and audio stuff. And like even talking through this now, I was like, okay, this isn't the vibe I usually like, but it's so uniquely like a thing. Like so in that regard, I'm a fan now.
You respect it more. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And maybe when you saw Dogtooth too, which also has like a really distinctive style and vibe, maybe you also had those feelings.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Dogtooth to me, like, I wouldn't say it's an all-time fave, but I clearly would like watch it again. So that's sort of high praise, right?
Yeah. Dogtooth is an all-time fave for me. That's a 5-star film for me. I love it so much. Yeah. But also like his way of like all of these films, the premise is fucked up. What's happening to them is fucked up, but there's still like a lot of comedy involved with the tragedy. Like alongside the tragedy, there is, even though the ways in which these people are reaching out for like human connection and affection or whatever is like fucked up, it's still like somehow relatable or something you can identify. Like in this movie, they are reaching for affection from people who don't want them to even be who they are, who think they are a dead person, and in Dogtooth, it's like their fucked up family having sex with their brother and stuff. Then also like the violence aspect, all existing in one film. Yorgos always does that. He always has like all of these elements involved. It's such like a complete picture. It's such like something that could be so wildly variant that he somehow like reins in and makes one singular cohesive tone, I think is just like the coolest thing about his films. They're so unique in that way.
Yeah.
And they're never that heavy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like this movie is about, like you said, people are searching for, like the Alps are trying to fill this emotional need, which clearly like they also need, which is just like just the premise of the movie seems just like heartbreaking, right? And like I don't know about you, but I never felt heartbroken for a single moment watching this movie.
No.
And that's not to say that it's bad because you don't feel that way. It's just like
that's how it's designed.
It's wild to explore that idea in a way that like doesn't just like devastate the viewer. Yeah. Like that's wild.
Yeah. And that's something I think is really special about his films, that they explore heavy topics without feeling too heavy.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the fact that I could watch these two movies back to back and not,
want to kill yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's amazing. Hell yeah. All right, so there's just the one little slice of this movie left, and then we've rolled creds, which is that very last scene with the gymnast doing her routine to a pop song, as she's always wanted, and hugging her little coach and saying, "You're the best coach in the world." And then we roll creds, and that's that. Sort of an anticlimactic ending.
Yeah, I literally just wrote down what the fuck, because like, okay, it's over. Yeah. What was the pop song, by the way? Did you know what that was?
No, I don't.
I was hoping it would be just something like really silly, just to sort of loop back and being like, this was all for like, I don't know, Toxic by Britney Spears or something.
But it is kind of like, even though it's not like a recognizable tune, it is kind of like, sounds like what would be like free on your keyboard MIDI or something. Like,
Yeah.
it isn't that interesting. It isn't that exciting of a tune. It's just like whatever plain, like, could be on YouTube freemusic.com.
Yeah.
Royalty free probably. But she's so excited when she's doing the dance. So I don't know.
Again, you just want people to put up with your boring bullshit, which for her is dancing.
And we don't even know, like,
this.
What is there a performance even involved? Like, she never performs for a crowd. She's just doing this in a gym by herself every time we see her. So, like, what is the stake here?
As far as we know, nothing.
Yeah. All right. And then we roll creds. So that's the creds. Bada bing, bada boom. We finished the movie. I think I just have one other observation. It's not necessarily something we missed in the movie, but one thing also that I love about some of Yorgos's films a lot is the queer aspect. Like, I think his movies have a tendency to be really uniquely queer, uniquely and truly. Like the nurse in this who plays the older sister in Dogtooth is non-binary in Dogtooth. And like, that was in 2009. We weren't even talking about non-binary, you know? So I think that that's one thing that maybe I missed from this film is I think it's like his only film that didn't feel like it really had a queer element to me.
Yeah, I didn't pick up anything.
Yeah. I was trying to like stretch my brain and see like, is there any way you could make this into like some kind of allegory for queerness, or is there some kind of like pretending to be someone you're not and having like stale sex with people you don't wanna just to please somebody else, or I don't know, but everything just felt like too much of a stretch.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that I did miss from this film based on Yorgos's classic filmography and what I love about his movies. All right, so if you don't have any other thoughts, we can score this out of 5. So what do you think out of 5?
Oh no, I gotta go first.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I'm gonna say, how do you normally do it? Full number, like, do you do halves?
You can do halves if you want.
Quarters?
Mm-hmm. No quarters, just halves.
Okay.
Holes and halves.
Holes and halves.
Wink. Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna say 3.5.
Okay. Do you want to give justification?
I think initially I was a little bit lower on it than that, actually. But our conversation bumped me up a little bit. Yeah.
Aw.
I think especially watching it after Dogtooth was detrimental here, because I think on its own...
You watched Dogtooth first.
Yeah. Like back to back, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dogtooth being just so great and so weird and so perfect, like so perfectly weird, that it's hard to look at this, you know...
This feels like a disappointment after Dogtooth.
Yeah.
They should have come out in reverse order.
Yeah. Because I think on its own, it's absolutely not fair to compare them. Well, I mean, I don't think, like, but it's just like knowing the like weird little perfect world that could have been, like, I don't know. It's just like there were times where just like it didn't quite get to the same highs that I was hoping it would get to. And in
fact, didn't get as rock hard during this movie.
Redacted. In some sense, I wanted this movie to be more devastating than it was, just because of the topic. Like I thought it was great that, you know, he was able to not make it be that way, but like... You
didn't need to feel devastated, but you needed to feel something.
Yeah, basically. But I mean, I don't know. Like at the same time, maybe that's what he wanted, right? To show just like put the viewer in that sort of numb, emotionless state that all of the characters seem to be in. So I don't know.
Maybe so. I don't know either.
I mean, 3.5 is what I'm going to say.
Okay. I'm going to say 3. I think solid 3. There are a lot of things I respect about this film. I do think I like it. I like it better in analysis of it than my actual experience watching the movie. I didn't enjoy that much of my experience watching the movie. I mean, it was fine, but I was frustrated with the first part because I didn't know what was going on for too long. And yeah, it is a little bit unaffecting, and I do wish it went harder.
Yeah.
I do think it could have gone harder. It feels weird. You can't help but compare this to Dogtooth, because Dogtooth is such a perfect movie, and it did come out right before this. It feels backwards. Like Dogtooth feels like a progression from this, not what happened first. So it's strange. Like we got the scraps or something. I think this has got to be probably one of my least favorite Yorgos, I think. But like, I love his movies so much. They're like all 5 stars for me. So
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like we're talking about this like it's a big disappointment, but it's like at the end of the day,
yeah,
it's relatively disappointing rather than globally disappointing, I think.
yeah.
Like I would pick this movie over a lot of movies that I have seen. Like if I just had to watch something again. So
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it's a rewatcher too, right? Like maybe this one really needs a second viewing to have some stuff sink in. I don't know.
I kind of watched it twice.
Okay.
I skim watched it the second time. I kind of skipped around a little bit while I was doing my notes, but I still kind of felt what I felt the first time. I feel like it could have gone harder. It could have been a little more. I have a ranked Yorgos list that also includes 2 of his shorts, and I have this at 6 out of 8 of Yorgos stuff that I've seen. So Kaneda, his first feature, I put below this, but I might have to rewatch that to properly rank it with this because it's been a while since I've seen that. And then Nimic, which is a short, I have at 8. So I guess not the worst, but not my favorite by any means. Not terrible. Would we recommend somebody else watches this?
I would recommend somebody watches a supercut of her dancing for her dad, her dancing at the end. What was the other scene that I said I would watch on repeat forever? Now I'm drawing a blank.
Oh, her deadpan delivery in the lamp store.
That was, I think there was one other one though
That's the one you said.
Okay.
I remember because I recorded it because I want to watch it forever.
So I think there are like little scenes that rule and that I would recommend watching.
There are moments that rule, but overall, does it work? Is it amazing? The concept is great.
I think that's part of the reason why it's a bit of a letdown too, is because the concept is so good.
In theory, it's great.
Yeah.
But I just think it could have gone harder. Yeah. I probably wouldn't recommend that people watch this movie, but I would recommend basically any other Yorgos movie.
We're back here at the Dogtooth podcast.
Dogtooth or even Elle, which I mentioned. I would probably recommend above this. Elle's not perfect either, but it is really interesting. Now it's time for ScreenVomit. So in this part of the podcast, we just talk about whatever else we've been watching lately, movies, shows, or whatever. So what you been watching?
So my 2 most recent watches, I watched Young Frankenstein because
it's
of
your
Halloween and my favorite. Funniest movie of all time. Very stupid.
I've never seen it.
Oh my God, it's so good. I guess that's what we should have done for this, right?
No, we can't. I only do 10 years, but...
Oh yeah, that's right. And all my movies are 50 years
We can watch it someday. Yeah.
I watched the Charlie Brown Halloween special also.
Yeah.
Because I am Charlie Brown incarnate, as some people know.
Did you win as Charlie Brown for Halloween?
I did. Yes, I also did go as Charlie Brown this year for Halloween.
Yeah.
I didn't quite finish it, and I had seen it already, but I watched part of The Void, which fucking rocks. I don't know if you've seen this movie before.
I haven't watched it, but it's been on my list.
I watched the first half of that and then got busy and didn't watch. This is as you may have realized, this is a continuing theme in my life. But that movie rocks. And I also realized I had it paused on the TV at my house with the subtitles saying, "I felt it when you woke up." And my roommate came home and was like, "What the fuck are you watching?" This is like in our living room. Just like,
hell yeah.
Yeah. The Void, I felt it when you woke up. So
nice. But you were liking what you saw so far.
Yeah, I had seen it before, so I was just kind of,
Oh, okay.
It fucking rocks.
Hell yeah.
I have been watching House MD.
Oh my God. Scott. Why? You could be watching good shows.
It's pretty good. I'm in a nostalgia bubble right now where I'm just like listening to a lot of music that I used to listen to, and like I watched that when I was younger, so I feel like I watched something else good recently though. Like a good show. I don't know. I rewatch Party Down like every couple weeks, which I think is the funniest show of all time.
Only because you haven't watched all of Nirvana the Band the Show yet.
That's true. I do need to watch more of Nirvana the Band the Show. It's very funny. Very, very much mine.
Did you only watch the first episode?
I watched the first 2 or 3.
Okay, cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got to watch them all.
I know. Yeah, that's all I can think of.
That's what you've been watching.
That's what I've been watching, I guess. Sorry to be a
Nice.
letdown, but I
You're
feel
not
like
a
there's something
letdown.
else
Oh my
cool
God.
though. There's something
Well,
else
look,
cool.
how about I'll do mine and you can think about what your other one was.
Yeah, okay.
I watched some crap. I watched, the 2002 film May. It's a horror film. A beautiful bisexual horror film with Jeremy Sisto, Anna Faris, James Duval. It's weird but not too scary, so perfect for me because I am a little chicken and I hate being scared. Or I think fear is cheap, so I don't like to experience it. But I really like that movie, and I think that's going to be a classic Halloween movie for me now. I loved it.
It's called May?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've never seen it or heard of it.
It's kind of an indie, and it's a weirdo movie, so I think it's more of cult status. But I really liked it. And so I just had Harrison Atkins on the podcast, and I couldn't say this to his face, but I rewatched his movie Lace Crater, which I love so much. It is such a good movie. It's so well done. It's just like exactly my shit. I get excited when I watch it. Lace Crater, shout out. I love it. But he also said to me that because of our discussion, he was like, you would probably hate early Joe Swanberg films. So I started watching some early Joe Swanberg films to see whether or not I would hate them. At that point in our conversation, I could only think of one Joe Swanberg film that I have seen and hated, which was The Zone. So I just been watching through some Swannies, and I watched Uncle Kent yesterday. Pretty good. I actually really liked it. And I watched some other ones, but I'm not going to go into all of them because I got two other things I want to talk about. I got two shorts I want to talk about too. One is called Brown. It's by Andy DeYoung. I really like the short Brown. I don't want to say what it's about because I think it would be a spoiler, but it's very funny and it's very well made short. So I recommend it. And then last one, also a short called White Rock Skate, which is a Mary Dauterman short starring Blair Beacon. Love her, love the short. Blair Beacon plays like someone who's really into roller skating. She's like won a lot of awards for roller skating, and the skating rink in her town is going out of business and nobody cares, but she's really passionate about saving it. It's cute, it's good. White Rock Skate. That's what I've been watching. Did you think of your other thing?
I also rewatched the third season of Joe Pera the other day. So big Joe Pera head here.
Yeah.
I mean, all of the seasons are great, but I thought the third was, I would say, better than the second, not quite as good as the first.
First season's the best for you?
I mean, I also hold it like very dearly to me because it just like came at the right time in my life. But
yeah,
one of the episodes I watched every day for 2 weeks after I found it. So
aw, wow. Okay, so it really hit for you.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, time for plugs. What you got to plug?
Famously, I hate plugging things, but...
You hate famously? Why?
Well, I also don't like talking about myself, so coming on podcasts is...
Shush. Shush.
Or I don't like talking. I know. This has been fun.
Tell me about you, Scott. What you got going on?
Well, you can check out my Google Scholar page. So I just plugged all my academic stuff.
By the time this comes out, we have joint plugs this time, actually, for once.
That's
Never
right.
had a joint plug with anyone. And by the time this comes out, all of our shit will be dropped. So tell the people about it.
Yeah, so I play in a band called Secret Grief. Kayla is now also a member. We sort of have a very happy that after 7 years of friendship.
What happened was someone who sings better than me moved farther away. So that now I can jump in.
No, it turned out great. So by the time you hear this, there will be 4 videos of us performing 4 new songs from an EP called Bloom, including myself and Grandma. What do they know you as here? Kayla?
Probably Kayla. Yeah, maybe both. Probably Kayla primarily.
Yeah.
Normals, a lot of people know me as Grandma.
Yeah.
That's my other life. I have 3 lives, all right? One life I'm Meat Boy, one life I'm Grandma, one life I'm ScreenVomit. So I keep all these things. I got all these threads flying around. Who knows what's happening?
But yeah.
And somewhere I'm a professional.
Everywhere. Yeah, so Secret Grief has a new studio EP with 4 songs that originally we recorded in 2015, and in
Which
fact,
also I was there for.
I was just gonna say you were there when we did some of it
In the studio, but I wasn't asked to participate at that time. Go on.
Yeah, and the songs kind of disappeared for a while, and Tyler Floyd, who's also in the band and does a lot of recording, was like, can you just get the original tracks and I'll mix them and master them? And so over pandemic, we worked on that, and then we decided to do these live in-studio sessions that you came and sang with us, and were so good.
Thank you.
And so those videos are, at the time of hearing this, on YouTube. You can listen to Bloom, the studio versions, on, I don't know, Spotify or Bandcamp or wherever you stream stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And more to come.
And you also have a history of other albums too. That's
yes,
new,
that's
but
right.
they've been putting out albums for a while. So our videos of our studio sessions will be on YouTube, like you said. They got a new album, they got old albums. Follow Secret Grief online, our band.
Yeah.
I'm in the picture.
I also don't have personal social media except Instagram, so I'm going to plug that.
Mm-hmm.
And my username is Little Droner Boy, which is...
Mm-hmm. So that's it for plugs, true?
Yep.
All right,
unless they
plugs
want to
are
check out
out.
my Google Scholar page.
Check out Scott's Google Scholar page. Easily the most important thing he's ever done.
Yep.
He's a smart boy. You'll find out. All right, so that's it for the pod. And you got to say thanks, Scott, for coming on. Finally,
Thank you for having
I've been
me.
begging you.
Yeah.
And we'll see everyone else next week. Bye.
Bye. What's a pussy?